Hi, welcome to Positively Sparking, a podcast on internet marketing, online productivity and business. Today I'm with Sam Goodwill, a thriving entrepreneur who runs numerous successful businesses in the online home and lifestyle sector. We're going to be chatting with Sam about Shopify, a website building platform that claims to be the #1 e-commerce platform for all businesses. Shopify has become Sam's favourite platform to build his businesses from. In this podcast, you'll find out why. Hey Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Hi Phil, thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So Sam, I know quite a bit about you, having known you for quite some time now. But for everyone who's hearing your voice for the first time, just tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so, I'm not too sure on my job title, but since 2009 I've been involved in the online world, and today I own and run a number of web businesses throughout the UK and Europe and the USA. I currently live in Paris, and so I run all these websites remotely. I've been here in Paris just over 18 months, but I'm starting to get itchy feet now, so would quite like to move and find the next place. But I don't think my girlfriend will be too happy.
So working there across 3 countries and trying to find a 4th one to move on to from where you are now.
Yeah, hopefully. We might stay in, we've been looking in the French Alps. I quite like running and sort of outdoor activities, so living in the mountains sounds like quite a good idea, I think, at the moment.
Sounds beautiful. And so the biggest reason I wanted you to come on the podcast today, I'm delighted to have you here, is to tell us all about this move that you've made towards Shopify. And in all those web businesses that you described there, running across different countries and in different niches, all of them are now unified by your love of Shopify. So tell us about that move.
So most of them are now on Shopify. Originally they were on sort of custom-built web management systems or WordPress or other platforms. And then, between 2009 to 2015, that was the case. In September 2015, I moved the first e-commerce site across to Shopify. The next one I moved across in February 2016, and then the others followed after that. I actually moved the first site during the same few days that I was moving to Paris, which was interesting, but I think goes some way to show how easy Shopify is to use. I was able to set everything up on Shopify and transfer everything across in about 24 hours. And the only thing that took a little bit of extra time was the URL redirects that I had to put in place to maintain our Google search results. But it's probably been the best decision I've made.
And there, beyond that last sentence you just said there, the best decision you've made was another great promo point for Shopify, which was that you could actually launch a site whilst moving to Paris. Yeah,
I might give that to them and see what they think. But no, it definitely was the case. I didn't need to think too much about it. I was able to sort of get moved in during the day into the apartment, but then in the evening I was very easily able to sort of transfer the websites across to Shopify.
So, in that decision to move your first site over to Shopify, what was it that pushed you to look for something new to host your site on? What was not happening with whatever system that site was using before Shopify?
I think it would be easy to talk about the technical features of the various platforms that I was using before. However, I think on the whole, within each system, you can generally do the similar things. I think the difference that I found is that the time and the extra work needed to achieve the same things on the other platforms like WordPress or Magento or BigCommerce or Volution, you don't have to do that on Shopify. And so the reason I prefer Shopify right now is because it's a platform that is simple to use and set up, and gives me more freedom to work on my business rather than in it.
So that huge time-saving aspect and the productivity benefits that you gain from Shopify was the biggest thing that made you think, right, now I can really go forward, because you're gaining back that extra time and resource.
Yeah, and do you know what? More than anything, it's taken away a lot of the worry. I no longer worry about a site going down at 3 a.m. in the morning, or having to pay a developer a lot of money to fix any potential problems. It has brilliant functionality. It's simple to use. Google loves it, and so puts my site nice and high in the search results. But maybe more importantly, everything I do now in my business since I've used Shopify and because of Shopify is geared towards thinking how I can free up more of my time. I'm very lucky to be able to travel and work from various parts of the world. At the same time, I've worked hard to put systems and strategies in place to enable me to do so. And I think more than any other platform I've used, Shopify has allowed me to do that.
Would you recommend Shopify to a business going online for the first time, a brand new business?
If you're looking to sell products online, whether they're physical or digital products, then yes. At the moment, Shopify is, I believe, the best for the job for selling online. Anyway,
great stuff. So, Sam, you've already mentioned that one of the things that Shopify does is help keep your site nice and high in Google, and you're a really big marketeer. So, how else does Shopify help you market your business? Such an important part of any business, but especially online. What kind of features does Shopify offer?
Again, it comes down to its ease of use. Because Shopify is such a big brand name, pretty much every marketing tool that you would wish to use, you can integrate easily with Shopify. And on top of this, there are hundreds of apps within the Shopify ecosystem that can help. So to give you an example, there's an app called Shoelace that I currently use on a couple of the websites. And this is a Facebook remarketing app. And what it does is retarget any visitor who visited your shop but didn't buy anything. And it creates various Facebook advert campaigns to bring those people back to your site. It does this automatically, and I just get a text on my phone asking for permission to start a journey campaign or a dynamic product ad campaign. I send the answer yes back, and away it goes. It's an exceptionally powerful tool, and it takes just 30 seconds to install on the Shopify site. And just looking quickly at my stats for the previous month, it's generated 25 times return on investment. So yeah, that works quite well.
Very good indeed. And to kind of replicate that with Facebook ad coding or even website coding would be so much more intensive, I guess. Whereas you're saying this plugin just literally adds on to the site, you switch it on, and off it goes.
Yeah, all you have to do is input the Facebook remarketing pixel, which again is you can do that through Facebook fairly simply. But there's other apps like it that just that do similar things, and it is just so easy to set up yourself.
Fantastic. One thing I've learned from you is this kind of whole world in Shopify extensions or plugins. I'm not sure which one they're called, but it's a thriving market of different developers creating different things and sharing them or selling them. How many are there, Sam? Have you got any idea?
Far too many, and it's far too easy to get seduced by them all, because a lot of them do some very cool stuff. So just like so on Shopify they're called apps. On WordPress they're called plugins. They're different between the two is that because Shopify is specifically built for e-commerce, the apps created by developers within the Shopify ecosystem are then specifically for e-commerce. Whereas on WordPress, you have plugins across a range of industries, whether they're marketing, sales, blogging. Shopify apps are specifically to help you grow your sales. And that's why they work quite so well.
That's a great point, Sam. So as you say, WordPress can offer us anything we want really as a plugin. It could be something that shares content easier, or something that automatically sends a latest blog post to a tweet or a Facebook post. But that point you made there about every app in Shopify is about increasing your sales. Is it a real strong focus?
Yeah, that is one of the things I love about the platform.
Where do you feel Shopify needs to grow? What does it not do?
Do you know what? I'm not too sure. And I'm not too sure because so far everything I've asked of Shopify is handled. As I just mentioned, it's a platform built specifically for e-commerce. So as long as it keeps focusing on that, then I'm quite happy to continue using it for my e-commerce websites. I do read comments from people saying it should improve its blog capabilities, but WordPress does this brilliantly already, and you can actually pull your WordPress blog into Shopify. So I'm not too sure that's needed. It does have a they call it Shopify Plus, and it's for businesses who generally have a turnover higher than $500,000 a year. And you get a few more features, but I currently run websites that have more than $1 million turnover a year, and I'm still using their $79 a month package. Yeah, for me anyway, it doesn't need to. There's not too much that needs to be changed at the moment.
That's fair enough. And so what stops you from upgrading to the Plus package for the businesses which are turning over more? Is there just not features there to entice you forward, or
the features are, or the extra features are just some improved reporting, and unfortunately the price that they charge is a lot higher than $79. I think it's you're getting up to $1,000 a month. And like I said, I'm able to run significant sales on my websites just using their basic system, and everything works well. It reports well, so there's no need for me to. At the moment, there's no need for me to upgrade.
It's fair enough. Now, there's one thing I'm going to say here, Sam, about something I think Shopify should develop. You probably know what it's going to be, because we've chatted about this a couple of times. And the one thing that I wonder about Shopify is, as a marketeer, I like to track everything. And one thing that Shopify does is when people go on to make a purchase, it sends that customer to a third-party domain. So we're buying from Shopify rather than the business that we came from. Now, that's all very well. That's 100% secure. There's nothing wrong with that as a transaction. But when we're tracking someone in terms of web marketing, we lose them at that point because they've left the domain that we have our Google Analytics and tracking code on and gone to another. And, for me, live on the podcast, I would love Shopify to do something about that and let us install something called Google Tag Manager into every part of a Shopify site, no matter what level of package they're on. And I know for you that's not too much of a problem. Doesn't bother you. But when we come down to, you mentioned something there about Shoelace and it being a great tool to enhance your remarketing campaigns and drive more sales. You would be able to do a lot more of that if you could track people all the way through from origin, so whatever channel they came through, all the way through to purchase and beyond. It would give you a lot of difference.
Yeah, I agree. and now that you've said it, that is one of the, in the Shopify Plus, that is one of the things that they change, is that rather than going through a Shopify URL for the checkout, you have your own custom URL. But whether that's worth the extra $1,000 a month for me at the moment, I don't think so.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. That is a fair point.
But like I said, as someone from your background who does need to measure all the stats and analytics, and it is an important thing.
Definitely. We've been through some ages of the web together now in some ways, and you've been through some on your own. What age do you think we're in right now, Sam, in terms of the internet marketing world?
I think this is difficult. I think we are probably in the age of the platform. And by that, I mean the current trend is services that are helping more and more people to make a living online. So in the 20th century, it was mail order catalogs. And then in the early 2000s, we saw the move to online. But this was still difficult. You had to hire a web developer who would custom build a site for you. People were still wary about putting card details through a computer. Even in 2009, when I was starting out, it was still the case that you generally got a website custom built for you. But today, there are multiple platforms that have been created to allow pretty much anybody to get going online. And that is a huge shift. That the barriers to entry have pretty much gone, and we now live in an era where someone who's retired can supplement their pension just as easily as a university student can help to pay their tuition fees. And so I think the opportunity is huge at the moment.
The age of the platform, I like that, Sam. I think that's a great point. Would you ever hire a web developer again?
No.
A simple one-word answer.
There's no need. There's absolutely no. If you are still using a web developer today, I think you really need to look at your business, and it is definitely a cost that can be got rid of.
Wow, that's a strong sentence. Web developers around the world are standing up and swearing at you, Sam.
I'm sure they are, but I'm sure they can create something else. They can create a platform.
Platform to compete with Shopify.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And 2 points you mentioned there about a retired person supplementing their pension and a student supplementing their university income. That's the other side of this, isn't it? That's the freedom that everybody has now to go and set up a business. And a business doesn't have to be a Richard Branson-sized multinational conglomeration. It's a vehicle to a better life, whatever that is for you. And platforms like Shopify and WordPress and all the other options we have out there make the access of a business idea to the market very quick. I know, Sam, you yourself, you tend to test your business ideas within a couple of days.
Yeah, so the trouble with me is I'll have a business idea most days, and 99% of them are ridiculous and they'll never work. But the 1% that do allow me to live in Paris and travel around the world, and the 1% that do work out, I'm able to quickly test if they are going to work out by using platforms like Facebook adverts, Google ads, landing page designers like Instapage or Lead Pages, an actual e-commerce platform like Shopify, and I'm able to have an idea, whether it's a physical product or a digital product, I'm able to send traffic to a page or a website that I've created within a few hours, and just see how that traffic reacts to whatever I'm offering. And if I get a sale, then I'll develop it a bit more. If I don't get a sale, then I'll keep it sort of ticking over for a week, make some tweaks. If there's still nothing going on, then I'll move on to the next idea. But the speed in which we can test and develop things is, when I was talking about when I first started out in 2009, you didn't need a web developer. This is why I don't think you need a web developer anymore, because you can just get something set up so quickly and see if your idea is actually going to work.
Great stuff. How much would you say failure is a part of your success?
It's everything. It's everything. I'm trying to think how many websites or ideas I've put together online in the past year. I think it's very easy for people to say they've got this idea and then they'll spend 6 months working on it. And the trouble is, after those 6 months, that they'll launch whatever it is, and it won't work, or there's a high chance that it won't work, and then they'll get disheartened and they won't go back to it. Because I've kind of accepted that I will fail most of the time, I'm quite happy to put my sort of head above the parapet and just take that chance. And although people have said, like, you'll be a dinner party and people will ask you what you do, and I find well, firstly, I found that very difficult trying to explain what I do. I
fail.
Yeah, but then when you sort of tell them, well, this website didn't work, this website didn't work, but this one did, and they're like, well, why did you bother trying the other two? And I'll reply, well, something that might not work on one site could work on another, but you don't know that unless you've tried as many things as you can.
Definitely. So how do we get used to failure, Sam? That is a concept that's probably alien to how most people actually function. How do you get used to and accept failure?
I don't think you get used to failure. It's definitely not a nice feeling, but I accept it and move on because it's what has got me into the position that I am in today. You know, I now can set my own working hours. My girlfriend works away a lot, so when she comes back, I can then go and spend those few days that she's back with her and not have to worry too much about work. And yeah, because I'm willing to take those risks and willing to fail, I then can sort of enjoy the successes a lot more.
So Sam, I'm guessing one of the big tips you would give any entrepreneur is just go out there and fail and learn from that failure. So along with that concept, which is, we've been discussing now, it's not the most natural human thing to do. What other tips would you give to a brand new web entrepreneur setting out in 2017?
So, I guess related to the failure is getting over that fear of failing just to make sure you get started. It's very tempting and easy to sort of stick to the status quo rather than take that risk. But as I've mentioned previously, the barriers to getting started online are now very low. And I think by at least getting started, you'll still be ahead of the curve. I was actually chatting to someone from IBM last week, and they were telling me about a machine that they've developed, which does 99% of a radiographer's job. And although I'm not saying that radiographers are going to be out of a job tomorrow, the way we work is changing so fast. Mass automation is creeping into our lives, and we'll soon be taking on more and more of the small jobs. Just looking at one of my own websites, the company that makes one of the products that I sell, even so 4 or 5 years ago, they had 25, 30 employees working in the warehouse, and now they have 5 because machines now do a lot of the smaller tasks. And so I think to people starting out or wanting to start out this year, I would say that you're going to come out on top if you're willing to adapt to these changes. And I think the platform age, if we're going to start calling it this, makes it more easier than ever.
Definitely so. And with all those Internet of Things and intelligent devices coming into the workforce, there'll be more and more people who are looking to the age of the platform to make their own way.
Yeah, and I think It's I don't think it's a bad thing. I think there's people will be scared that these machines are going to take their jobs, and they will take some jobs, but it's going to free humanity up to do a lot of cool stuff. We don't have to worry about, in 10 years' time, I might not have to worry about driving somewhere. I can be sat in the car and I can be working on whatever it is I need to be working on, and not have to be thinking about concentrating on the road in front of me because something else is taking care of it. And I think for human creativity, that opens up a huge array of opportunity.
It certainly does. I'm looking forward to that driverless car day as well, Sam. The idea of getting in my car and going to sleep and waking up somewhere is a good one.
Yeah, it's going to... I hope it comes soon.
So, Sam, what are you going to do next with your own business?
So, because over the past few years I've built the various websites to enable me to work whenever I want, I now find myself in a position where I have a bit of free time during a week to help others in their online journey. So although there are many upsides to running your own business, your own website, the one main downside that I find that people sort of tell me and that I know myself is not knowing what to do next. So you might get to 10 sales a day and then 25 and then maybe 50 sales a day, but then you find yourself stuck in a bit of a rut, unsure of what to do on sort of what's the next step to take is to get you to 100 sales and beyond. And so because I've experienced all of that firsthand, and because I now have a bit of time available, I'm beginning to offer to a few businesses, a few people every month who are either starting out a new online venture, or they're maybe a few years into their business, their website, and I'm going to be offering sort of advice and guidance and help on what steps they should be taking to reach that next level. Now that might mean that I get stuck in with them and help build out various things. So whether that's landing pages or a bit of a marketing campaign or whatever, or it could mean explaining and sort of chatting with them with what I believe they need to do to improve their online presence, and then sort of letting them do it themselves. So in terms of, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the sort of the next year or so.
Sounds great, Sam. And so all that information and knowledge that you've acquired over the I'm not even sure how many years it is, but it's quite a few now. In there, you can share with others and hope to help them do the same. So where can we find out about that service, Sam?
So I've created a new site, www.samgoodwill.co.uk. I'm happy for people just to drop me an email, because I'm more than happy just to sort of chat away about business. I love all the aspects of business, whether it's logistics, marketing, websites. I like to know why customers do certain things and why they don't. So I'm more than happy just sort of to chat away to anybody who's willing to listen to me.
I'm sure many will. So Sam, let's just sum up, and I'm going to ask you if you've got any final message to give everybody, but I'd also like you to give everybody the most important thing of everything that you shared today, all that great advice. What do you think is the most number one important aspect that you believe every business online should do?
If possible, to create a business that enhances your life rather than takes it away. I am now 29 years old, and my mother died when she was 37. So that for me is 8 years away. And so everything I do is what would happen if I was in the same position in 8 years' time. How could I look back on my life? And if I've made a success of it or whatever, if I've done enough good in the world. And so everything I do in my business is now across the various websites. How can I build it so that I can enjoy my life, so that I can spend time with my family and friends, and so that it doesn't infect me, so that I'm not working at 3 o'clock in the morning anymore, which I used to do.
That's an amazing thing to share, Sam. And it's such an important part of life. We can put all our mind and our heart into work and forget about everything else that life has within it. But you just shared something there which very poignantly brings us back to what really matters.
We do. At the end of it, you're not going to remember the customer complaining at 7 o'clock on one evening.
You're certainly not.
You know, and if I am remembering that, then I've done something wrong.
Definitely so. So Sam, I wish you the very best in your new venture. I'm sure you're going to be doing great stuff as a consultant as well as a businessman. Thank you so much for coming on today's podcast. It's been great. And thinking of you over there in Paris, you probably are podcasting from the most glamorous location of any guest that we've had. So have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My name is Phil Byrne, and I'd like to thank you so much for listening today. I hope you got something really good to take away from this week's episode for you or your business. And you know what? I'd like to give you something more. In fact, I'd like to give you a whole free web marketing pack full of all my latest and best ideas on how you can take your business forward positively online. Download your pack at positivesparks.co.uk/pack. And most of all, guys, look forward to seeing you again next week.